Hello, for this hot take episode, we're going to be impulsively forming opinions on the different races in Kenshi. Before we begin though, the first question we must ask is if discussing race in this way is by its very nature racist. Being from the United States myself, my grasp of the definition of words is tenuous at best. So I consulted the sacred texts from long ago to find the answers we're looking for. There, I found out that racism is defined as having, reflecting, or fostering the belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities. Well, in Kenshi, there is no need to foster racism in the first place. Each race is completely monolithic with predetermined traits and aptitudes. This is exactly what a racist would claim is true. We can therefore say that Kenshi is a racist game at its core. Thus, the discussion we're having right now is racist, and henceforth your children will be racist as a consequence of you watching this video right now. Now that we've clarified on that, let's talk about white people.
I'm so pale.
Greenlanders aren't good at many things, but they're not bad at anything either, so is it really fair to complain? All I know is that when I recruit one, I'm not upset, but I'm not exactly happy either. More often than not, unless a Greenlander is fulfilling a role-playing purpose in my playthrough, they're gonna end up working at my base, because that's what proficiencies in cooking, farming, and science gets you. However, if you're living in the Holy Nation, ignore what I've said so far. To please Okra, you should recruit as many Greenlanders as possible. After all, if you recruit the most average race of them all, then you won't have to worry about role assignment. You can just slap a Greenlander onto any job and they'll do just fine. There's a convenience to that. I respect it. But racism in Kenshi gets so much more interesting once we take a look at some of the other contenders here.
Oh, that's hot.
In all honesty, I tend to recruit more Scorchlanders than I do Greenlanders for some reason. I don't know if it's rational, I just do. I enjoy their faster run speed, and it's nice to have a character who can specialize as a smith at a base, or who can become a ninja, stealth, or a ranged character in the field. From a more petty perspective, I suppose, I think Scorchlanders, both male and female, are better looking than Greenlanders. Now, before you throw the holy flame at me for saying that, ask yourself the question, why do tanning beds exist? If you disagree with my stance on this topic, keep in mind, my Scorchlanders are going to be faster than your Greenlanders, and I will craft masterwork dust coats before you do. Alright, I'm gonna say, these guys are weird. I mean, they have good skills, don't get me wrong, but holy rice bowl, their HP is so low. Why would you take these guys anywhere? If the wind picks up, their limbs might just fall off. And this is on top of them having leg armor and head armor restrictions. My impulsive take here for these boys is that you keep them at your base. They're good at most of the base stuff. They also don't have to be fed much, so they're perfect for when you need a character to do mundane tasks all day long. Just don't put them in charge of cooking, or your bone dog might not be around when you get back.
You might think you know, but you have no idea.
I do enjoy hive soldiers. It's not entirely logical, I just do. There's just something about them charging into battle with a polearm in hand. You just know that they're gonna do well. I know what you're thinking, they have a big head and can't wear head armor. That's a big deal, right? Guess what? I don't care. I have never had a hive soldier drone die from a head wound, and I am choosing to value my anecdotal evidence for that over any actual statistics. Let's just be real though, it's nice to have a fighter that is so fast. You kind of have to babysit other races before they get their athleticism skilled up, but early on, hive soldiers can outrun most enemies out there without any kind of issues.
No! Harry, no! Don't look at the light! I can't help it.
Hive Princes undeniably have one of the better stat bonus distributions. The only thing that bothers me is the strength debuff, really. Admittedly, I find myself recruiting them often because I like to make them ranged units or medics on the battlefield. Their higher speed plays perfectly into these kinds of roles. I guess their lower HP is a potential sticking point, but you can just avoid frontlining them and you'll be fine. I kind of see Hive Princes as similar to Scorchlanders, and I enjoy both of those races for similar reasons. They make for good support or ranged characters, while other races are taking most of the hits.
You are my queen.
now, and always.
Shek characters are bad at most things, but that doesn't matter. Here's why. Let's say you're trading scientists. How many scientists do you need in one of your playthroughs? Maybe 1, 2 if you're pushing it. Okay. How many armor smiths do you need in your playthrough? Maybe 1 or 2. What about fighters? How many fighters do you want? If you answered as many as I can clothe and feed, then you answered correctly. Unless you have a food shortage, there isn't really a bad time to recruit a Shek character. They train up their combat abilities faster than other races, and they have a higher HP pool than most others too. They are also aesthetically pleasing. I must say though that hiring a ton of Shek characters early in the game is kind of a bait. They will eat through all your food, and then you'll quickly find out they cannot outrun basic enemies until their athleticism is trained. Oh well, best to just let them fight. You can pick them up later after they've dreamed about crawl for a while.
I have crippling depression.
What to say about skeletons? To be fair, they aren't like the other races. They don't eat food, they have some pretty heavy armor restrictions, but their larger HP pool compensates for the armor restrictions. Their biggest perk of all, though, is probably the need to be repaired instead of the need to be bandaged. This allows for them to get back into combat immediately after repair instead of needing to sleep like the other races. This makes combat training so much faster for them. For cannibals and beak things alike, skeletons are off the menu, so you know exactly which race to sacrifice if you are in danger. All these things in mind, you should recruit skeletons whenever you can. In Vanilla Kenshi, they're pretty rare, so you should pick them up at every opportunity you get. Their skill bonuses and penalties don't really matter that much to me. What matters to me is that they won't eat through my food and I can send them back into battle very quickly. Well, that's all I have to say about that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit any of the buttons below if you enjoyed the video. I will catch y'all some other time.